We want to see this bill get the very best scrutiny it can, and we don't believe that our MPs in the Labour Party have been given the right sort of evidence from the last few days. So that's why we wanted to write to them to make sure that they heard some of the voices that weren't heard in the witnesses and in the way that Kim Ledbetter, put that forward. We know that Kim and her team are amazing campaigners, but this bill is not a campaign. It's one of the most significant changes, I think probably the most significant change that would happen in my time as a parliamentarian. And of course, people like me are new to Parliament. And so we're dealing with a very, very complex and frankly, ethically changing piece of legislation without the necessary scrutiny, because it is being rushed. The bill committee itself is not balanced. And so we're urging colleagues to make sure that they really, really look at the full consequences of this bill, particularly for vulnerable people. So my main concern is about the 2.3 million victims of domestic abuse in the UK each year, and how the bill will protect them from meeting untimely death. The committee could have been chosen for experience of being on a bill committee before. I think that could have been really helpful. It could be taking more time because it's not a government bill, and government bills, we know, are always under a lot of pressure because there are many and the government says we've got to get this through and so forth. This is a private member's bill. It can take the time to get it right, but there are many people, including those on the bill committee, who are having to deal with over 200 amendments in over a weekend. How on earth are they meant to get their heads round that without the legal support that you would get on a normal government bill? So we are simply saying it is important for this bill to be given time and for people to take the time to look at the perspectives that we don't believe that the bill lead Kim Ledbetter is actually putting to people. It's not a campaign. This is incredibly important. It needs the scrutiny and it needs balance. And there are a number of things, for example, the bill committee didn't hear from any witnesses from jurisdictions where there was a sister dying and people had concerns about it. We know there are people in those jurisdictions that have concerns, but none of them were invited. We know that we didn't hear from any witnesses who had experience of a loved one, taking assisted suicide, but who had concerns about that process. And you're right, a PMB isn't a government bill. Usually in those processes, you'll have very clear for and against with the government and opposition, where people can really, really test the bill to its limits and make sure that it is doing the right thing. We don't believe that's happening in the current situation.